How are you guys doing?
For what for?
Marvelous.
If it costs the much more than that appraised value, it'll put me in dark chocolates.
I'm his best customer.
Not even milk chocolate.
I hope girl buys those school candies by the cases.
Those are really good.
And
I've still
just
been waiting to
leaves them
find
out
his
there.
supply of those because it's not in Salina and it's not in his little office. It's got to be at his house. Next time that I have to work on his computer at home.
Earl Feast at Little Iron.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
He just buys
talking
them
about.
by the case, and when somebody's going over there, yeah, buy me about 5 or 6.
Those are
You know,
really good.
Yeah, they were advertising.
Can you bring that card so that they have a podium for us to present?
Really? Oh, that's true.
Had to run some
It's a large, it's a blood.
ball field to drop off because there's several
This
teams
one
out there
girl was
practicing.
also our babysitter.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she hit us up.
So I was
$12
pushing
a
it
game I spent on it.
because I tried to sneak in a
Oh,
15-minute
it's too
nap.
late.
And they are good. And we got the dark chocolates we want my wife out.
That's what I'm trying to figure out which way to go with.
Yes.
I love all this discombobulation. It's fantastic.
So I have a question for you. So
Yeah.
you think maybe you can like sign up for WeChat with all the friends you have
over there?
and get me signed up? Because I can't figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I can help you figure it out.
Come in on-
Yeah, that's no problem at all. Yeah, because there's.
I was-
I'm laughing because Connie's laughing.
Are we online? Are we hot?
I don't think so. Are we hot yet?
Not yet.
Will this
am-
work? You see that, Hannah?
Well, that's like last time my wife's texted me like, "We could hear you." I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah, I'm good.
Whoop.
Gravity.
Is there anything I could use that would actually like help weight?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It is for some reason every time you sit on the scale, gravity's denser in that one area. Yep, I've
Okay,
noticed
for
that.
those of you who want to present, this will be your podium. I apologize, you're gonna be behind the commissioners, but it's the best we can do.
We got swivel chairs. Good.
So where are all the mics at? Just this one here? Or where do we go?
One there on the floor.
Well, there's
But I mean,
that
we're just
one
supposed to talk
and-
loud? Does it pick up back over here somewhere, or? I just remember we had a couple
No
here, I
idea.
thought, last week, or 2 weeks ago, but.
No.
Yeah, there's.
Here.
I don't know.
Boom.
Okay.
You remembered I had one, I don't ever.
Tim is working on getting the Wi-Fi.
Okay, well, for the time being, if you want to put it on there, I don't know if how well it'll pick up stuff, but it gives it.
Do we want to make an announcement again? We're waiting for media because it is 5:30.
I mean, do I just need to verbally make that right now?
I think.
Yeah, you're closest to the
I
mic.
believe we're on our.
Sorry.
Oh, we're live on ours. We are currently just waiting for the media to finish setting up, and then the meeting will go ahead and start.
Your package, hold it there.
About 60 seconds.
I'm most seriously about to just toss that one.
Yeah.
We okay with the flag there, or do we need to move it again?
It's all right if I'm the only one that can't see it.
Okay.
I know where it's at now. I won't be looking for it.
He's good, he's good.
No, I know where it's at now.
Ellie?
I just didn't know where it
I'm
was
gonna-
at before.
can I take
because
this
couldn't
down?
see it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Money in the bank.
Well, I wonder how much more this is gonna add to our bill.
Lynn, can you stay after the meeting and talk to me for about an hour? Oh.
Yeah, about city stuff. My wife will understand, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you for taping that down.
There will be a charge for the paper. Chris, make sure you invoice that tape.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I know who your boss is.
Okay.
some dubstep to get everybody full of energy before the meeting starts.
Does anyone have the Jeopardy theme uploaded? Use that.
Good.
30-year chief master sergeant scared of a little bug.
Imagine I walk in here and nobody's got it on, I don't know whether to get on the ground or what.
Hey, you scared a little bug out? No, I know some places you went.
No, shut up. They said we were on the air, all we like.
Yeah. I'm talking about Fort Riley.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
I emailed that to you.
I got it, I need to study it, can I get it?
Maybe you can, I'm smart enough, I can print it again.
What I mean,
No, I don't need it for tonight.
Hey Tim, is that our camera right there? That's for my sister. She just texted me, you should wave at us tonight.
Go hi, sis.
Yeah.
Was that your older sister? I forgot you, Steve.
Can you set that up for me again really quick?
We're taking time.
Yeah,
They're only
good,
billable hours.
yeah, good luck billing that one.
This time's the time.
Get better. Okay. All right.
A lot of free time to do it.
Okay. Are we ready? Okay.
Good to go.
I'd like
Present.
Commissioner Martin? Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Double present.
Commissioner Lindberger?
Here.
Commissioner Martinez?
Here.
Commissioner Warren?
Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in a pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have the invocation, Ronnie?
Yeah. Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day that you have given us, and we ask that you will give this board guidance and wisdom as we conduct the business of the city. Watch over and guide us and keep us safe as we leave this place tonight. Be with the citizens of our community as they go out and do their business and try to keep them safe. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Ronnie. We have no awards, proclamations, or presentations, but we have some corrections on the agenda. On number 7, on the last page of the grant, down in the last whereas, and it says in the last sentence, local businesses, and you need to add the word to retain jobs for low to moderate income people. You find that? Okay. And then we need to remove from the agenda number 14. Okay, can I
Well,
have?
we might have to rethink that one.
We don't want to.
He said.
Oh, even though it was tabled to accept that, pending, are we still okay?
I think we just need to remove it for now, wait to hear what they send back and talk to us about transfer of property.
Okay,
I think we're
so
good.
I'll wait on the title search and all that.
From the letter that we.
Regular meeting. Motion by Commissioner Harden.
Mr. Lindbergh.
The May 12, 2020 regular meeting. citizens. Did we have any? The next item is the consent. All in favor? Motion carried. 20 Community Development Block CV grant. It is 626. And if you have questions as we go through this. For the commissions.
This is a grant that we will apply for. It'll be a pass-through grant for businesses that need their help from coronavirus-related expenses or being shut down. Pay rent, utilities, and monthly expenses beginning back in March. So the businesses would have to qualify and to save low to moderate income jobs. We have heard from some businesses. I did have Cindy called several businesses to see if there was a need for the grant, and there certainly is. And then after the publication, we did receive some calls and some emails of interest from the public.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Please.
I mean, I want to start anything.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. So, don't.
It is open to all small businesses, though, correct?
Yes. Right, and it would be a reimbursement. There will be, if we're funded, there will be an application.
Any other? Hearing closed. The next item is for us to vote on this resolution. Can I have a motion to approve resolution number?
I'll make a motion that we,
2332.
adopt or approve resolution number 2332, authorizing the submittal of a 2020 CDBG.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Harden to approve resolution 2332, authorizing the submittal of a 2020 Community Development Block Grant C.
As you know, November will be the month that we vote. On here we had September would be the month that the focus would promote. Starting in September, we would promote the passage of the 1 cent sales tax with a rigorous campaign to get the word out to the community and soliciting them to vote in the positive for the reenactment of the 1 cent sales tax. In August of this year, you are to provide the question to the county clerk so that she can include it on the November ballot. She needs 60 days. That has to be to her 60 days prior to the vote. And we said we needed to, we figured we'd try to get it to her in August. Of course, that's on the city commission to do, and that would give you a cushion. She only needs 60 days, but if we can get it to her in August, there's time to play with it. The month of July, the city commission then would vote to approve the question on the ballot. I'm going backwards now. So, to approve through your legal counsel the city's campaign to educating public on the 1 cent sales tax. That's in July. And in June, we are to present to you the Focus on the Future Committee is to present to you our assessment of what went on with the collection of the data so that you could present a prospectus to the city for you to consider, which will go to your attorney to develop the question to be placed on the ballot. So what happened in May? In May, we started and completed our town hall meeting, and that was gathering information from, in May, we were to put this perspectives together, and that's what we've done, and in the process of doing right now. From January through April, as you know, was the timeline that we used to have all the town hall meetings. And we had several of those town hall meetings, and I'll just kind of break down to you what that looked like. And I'll tell you that from our perspective, the committee's perspective, it was very enlightening, and we touched an awful lot of people, got a lot of information that we're going to put together for you. And we have a meeting on the 1st of June, which will be next week, and we'll start putting this perspectives together for you. And we think that this timeline will give you adequate time to have your attorney review it, have it, these things be put on the ballot for November. Now, for the whole period of January through April, we met with several groups. We met with the early riser Kiwanis, Noon Kiwanis, the Rotary Club, Lions Club, the Nail Group, Liberal High School staff, the City of the Liberal staff, Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, the Aurora Sorority, and we had about 8 public meetings in person. And 4 of those online. We spent the last month, every Thursday, we had an online meeting. Our goal was, when we set out, to meet between 700 and 1,000 individuals to provide input to our efforts. And we met with a total of 746 people in person. And then the pandemic hit, and we were forced to go online. And every Thursday of the last month, as I said, we did Zoom and had several people contact us and give us ideas. Over this online, we were able to have about 4,246 viewers that really tuned in to our process. Now, of that, 71% of those folks that viewed online were actually from Seward County, which came out to a number of about 3,030 folks that from our area that actually participated in giving us information and input to put this together. So with that, I'll entertain any questions that you may have into our process. Again, we're going to meet on the 1st of June, and this was a part of my coming to you monthly to give you an update on where we stood with our effort to get this thing to you so that it makes sense. And I'll say this again about our process. We're going to put it in a priority of those things that people said they wanted. But we're also going to present to you all of the raw data so that you can take a look at it for yourself. Now, our goal is to give you that information, to tell you what this public has told us through the last 3 or 4 months. And then you as a commission have to make the decision as to how you're going to prioritize that and put it into your budget. Now, a lot of this stuff you have ongoing. We realize that a lot of the projects that the public says in our collection of this information, you are already doing. And so as you meet to put this in some sort of a priority, you'll know where to put your money, as you know, because you'll know what you're doing already from your budget. I'll say this again: now, the 1-cent sales tax is intended to be above and beyond your normal budgetary process that you go through on an annual basis. This is something that the public says that they want you to do to enhance what it is that you're currently doing with your maintenance and other things that you're doing within your city, and realizing that things have changed due to this pandemic, and we don't know what in the world it's going to look like. Again, a lot of our information came after this thing hit. And so we're gonna have to be flexible and adjust to what the public is saying that they want from us. So I will end my little presentation here by asking you any questions that you may have of us. We will continue to press forward and put this together for you. We'll hope to have it to you by the 1st of June that week.
You said that's the next meeting?
That'll be the next meeting of the Focus on the Future, and that'll be a live meeting. We're going to have it just as you know here at the depot. Our distance, social distancing and all of that will be considered at the meeting.
Thank you.
Any questions for Ivanhoe?
Well, thank you guys for your work. I know that you guys have a lot of hours in it. We're lucky that some of the Focus members do show up a lot more than I do and do what they're supposed to do, so we appreciate it.
Well, again, whether or not you showed up or not, our effort was to hear what the public had to say and then to bring that to you. And so I think we've done a pretty doggone good job at canvassing the community and soliciting ideas from a variety of different people. We have professional folks that we've talked to, we've had common citizens that we've talked to, we've had staff people that we've talked to. So we've really tried to cover this community. Educators, we've had educators here talking to us about their wishes and desires. So I think this particular iteration of the 1-cent sales tax, we have a much more diverse sampling to give you for you to make your decision as to how it is you're going to put things in the problem. Now I'll give this caveat to it and then I'll shut up. You got to remember now, this is what people say they want, not you, what the people say. And so they're the ones that vote you into office. And so if I were sitting in your seat, I would be very interested to hear what the public has to say that they want and how they want you to spend their money. Anything else?
Thank you, Ivanhoe.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
I would add one thing more for the commission. When we approve the final wording, it's gonna have to be at the August 11th meeting. That's because we have to do it within the 90 days of the actual vote, which is November the 3rd. If we do it outside of that, we then have to have our own special election. So we can address it in the July meeting, but we don't want to actually pass it and approve it until that August,
Okay.
the 11th meeting.
That's your timeline. We're going to, I think, if all what we're doing, you'll be able to.
Oh, plenty of time, sounds like.
You'll have plenty of time.
I was gonna say, let's just get that on approved and sent to her as soon as we possibly
Well, no,
can.
you don't want to do that.
Okay.
You want to be within
August
those
11th.
90 days.
Yeah.
Like I said, August the 11th is the day we need to, the commission, if we're gonna pass and approve, it's that day.
Let's do it August 11th.
Sounds great.
Anything
We'll
else?
talk about it before that.
Fantastic.
Thank you all for having me.
Thank you, Ivanhoe.
Thank you, Ivanhoe.
Thank you.
Okay, the next is Adventure Bay Family Water Park.
Okay, this is kind of just an update. Our intent is to try and have the lap pool filled by somewhere around June 1st, so we can get our lifeguards and everybody trained. And so we did get confirmation on staff funding, so we're good to go. All we need to know is when we tell them we're gonna open, we got the funding for the staff. So that's a good thing. The one thing that's been talked about probably is one of the reasons on here for consensus is our target date to open was the weekend of June 20th, which is also somebody, well, that's Billy's Car Show. Well, I'm thinking, what a good day to have it open. We got people in town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, that'll make that park maybe a little fuller than normal, but I mean, so.
Yeah, I can't see a deterrent from it though, because
Yeah.
something tells me that the people that come for the car show probably aren't gonna be soaking in
That
the
could,
pool.
that could enhance the car.
Yeah, but somebody from the pool may want to go to the car show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you guys are okay,
Yeah.
and then, of course, the governor did, for those of you that don't know, through a curveball, as of now, the phases are done at 12:01 tonight, and they're strictly guidelines. And it'll be up to the county EOC to determine if they just want to use that for guidelines or come up with their own set of rules, which right now I'm in the dark. I'm hoping that they just take in the adapt to, hey, we'll follow the governor's guidelines for the phase-in, and we go. But right now, unless somebody knows something that I don't know, I have not heard anything from the county.
Now, they
So-
only have till midnight tonight to adopt.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
They can adopt something before midnight tonight, then that'll cover tomorrow, but if they met tomorrow at 6 o'clock, from the state.
Then
Gotcha.
they could do it after that, we'd have to follow what
Whatever
their
they can.
guidelines or get our ropes up in the trees ready for, anyway.
Well, I mean, that's it.
Did I say
They
that?
may-
I did, didn't I? I guess.
I mean, I'm
I didn't hear
hoping
it.
that they just adapt the governor's guidelines, and that's kind of what we stay within.
I think the issue is a lot of counties have adopted the governor's mandate to be what they follow,
Yeah.
but there's
Then
some
they-
question now because it's not a mandate, because it's just a recommendation. So I think most counties, if they're gonna keep that in effect, are going to have to look really closely at the resolution and decide, do we need to reword this resolution and state, we are adopting the recommendations now in those phases or not, so.
Fantastic. Only other question I had about Adventure Bay, because I knew this was coming up in some other municipalities. A lot of this probably changed with the differences from the state. Did we ever contact Alshink Insurance and make sure that everything was good to go with preliminary opening date and moving forward with that?
Yeah, here is, and I think Chris could have saw it and screwed up. Basically, we've been covered all along, but no pool or, you know, whatever virus. So, I mean, we've never had any coverage.
Pool, as long as we have proper public notices, things like that in place.
I mean,
We'll
there's
tiptoe
a
across that
lawyer
bridge when we
who's
get
gonna
there.
tell you, there's gonna be litigation all over the nation on everything.
Fine, well enough, I know that there was some push for something to be put into legislation regarding negligence types actions for this type of a virus, but I don't think it got any traction, and they met from, 8 o'clock one morning to 5 o'clock the next morning to put in front of the governor what they did. So the reality is what Cal said, is people are gonna sue you if they're gonna sue you, and that's why you have insurance to cover you for that. It would be awful hard, I think, to, you know, so, I mean, a public pool that's open, and it could happen, but it's.
Well, and you know you're on risk by going anyway.
Right.
Well, I mean, every year we get somebody got sick that day. I don't think that was the issue.
Does he have chlorine sensitivity?
I think it's, June 20th or 19th, whatever that Friday or Saturday is that weekend. I know it's a weekend of the 20th.
Okay.
So if we don't see a problem with that, we will.
Okay, is everybody okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, well,
Alicia or Chris bail me out if I give the wrong dates, but in June we go out, you know, with the applications, and then we meet in June, you know, to hear what they have to present, and that way we have the information for the budget hearing. My caution is how aggressive do we want to go after this, because it's going to be June or July before we actually know what the impact is at the earliest on what we're going to have for income as far as sales tax. I mean, and it's more or less, guys, you may have to look, hey, yeah, we normally do that, but hey, we fund them half. I mean,
I see where you're coming from. I think the hard thing is, you know, from doing those the last 2 years, a lot of those organizations absolutely rely on what they get from us to be able to continue functioning as normal, and so.
but here's the other kicker on that. If I understand the CARES Act, there's a bill in there now for 501(c)(3)s to get help. Have you
You're right.
seen that? Yeah,
You're
I
right.
think it's
You're
in
right.
there. Yeah, so,
they need to have some initiative about this.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if, I haven't seen the final version of what it's gonna do, but I know there is some language in there to help these nonprofits out, which would which they know is, you know, and part of the reason is they know municipalities and other people help fund them that are gonna be struggling too, you know.
This is going to be kind of a weird question to ask, but is there any way leading up to that date that we can ask the nonprofits that are applying for funds from the city to provide any kind of proof of whether or not they received the funding through that grant? Because if they did, it's probably far more of a substantial amount than we've provided anyway, and then we can reallocate that to one that actually needs it because they didn't get those monies.
I think that's a legal question.
Or do we not have the precedence to be able to ask for that kind of
I doubt that
information?
they would know yet.
Yeah,
Because of how long the application
about
process
the only
will
thing
take.
we could do is probably ask, did you apply?
Yeah.
Did you apply for the
A
CARES?
lot of them show us their funding anyway, don't
Yeah,
they?
absolutely.
Yeah, they show us.
Now, the Baseball Association will be applying for CARES funding.
I was sitting there thinking that over in my mind, but I think actually it kept us from spending money, so in reality, we didn't lose money, we just didn't get to spend it.
Oh, okay.
So we're just, we'll just have to pass, I guess.
Chris, do you have an opinion on this?
I know that for the applications, that each year we do accept those. We do stipulate, even if approved at budget time, should something occur after the fact, subject to available funding. And of course, the only thing you get into on there is if you've committed to something and then later have to pull it back. But so I guess one advantage I see of our current process is if we accept applications in June, then by the end of the month, before, we usually do presentations in early July, we'll actually be able to see what the June collections are, which I guess for simplistic reasons, you could think of those as April sales, and that would have been, the full month into the lockdown. Here just within the next week, we should receive the information for the May distribution, which would have been March sales, which, the latter half of that month was the one affected by the lockdown. But like I said, the full effect we'll see on our June collection. So, but then it's a guessing game because we're starting to open back up on some things. Not knowing how the economy's going to go, but but that's something certainly that should the commission want to consider. I as staff would not really see any problem of continuing the regular application process. Let everybody apply, see what kind of requests there are, and then of course that's commission's decision. But,
Absolutely.
And then see how, I guess, how their presentations go, how the budget develops, as things come together, then we'll have maybe a clearer picture by that time.
Okay. So maybe we can just kind of more heavily emphasize that, we'll go through with the process, but if it comes out that we get into a financial predicament, we're just going to have to look at either lessening the amounts we committed to or completely wiping it for fiscal year 2020.
Yeah. And this is kind of a Lynn question. On our application, could we put a little statement on there about the CARES Act and then did you apply?
I think it's.
I have anything else on that? I'm sorry. Iron and Metal LLC land purchase agreement.
This has been in the works for a little bit. I'm just trying to particularly get the specifics on who is purchasing. This is Earl Fees and Cheryl Fees, Red Liberal New Iron and Metal. This is the ground that FAA is involved with, 2.02 acres. Specifically in this, there is a special consideration on number 14 that deals with the FAA. I ran this by the FAA beforehand to make sure they understood it. We had what was it, a month or two ago, we had a type of issues with land transfers. I think it's the federal notification for these type of Earl and Cheryl that says when that process is done, we can go. That is the amount that it is airport and can only be used for certain airport expenses. Obviously, that you execute.
We lose the business, he has a buyer that will keep the business here in Liberal, which is our own buyer's lender would not go for it if he did not own the property the business was on. And that's what brought this sale up, because we're trying to keep all rentals so we can keep income going for operations. But this is for the benefit of Liberal's economic development, so we don't lose an existing business that is unique within a 100-mile radius.
And informing the FAA about all of it. That's fantastic.
It took a while, didn't it?
It's not always done that way. Oh.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Tony, Commissioner Martinez to approve the real estate land sale. Motion carries 5-0. Next one is number 12, municipal court purchase,
Okay.
Tyler Court Software, hardware and services.
Okay, if you don't ask any technical questions, we'll be good to go. I have Tim over there in the background. Basically, this came about because the existing software is going extinct. And so Tim, Courts, I believe Lynn was probably involved with this, researched it, and they came out, this was the best bang for our buck to replace the software that we're not gonna be able to use after next year, starting next year. Right. So staff requested you approve it, and I don't remember where I found the money for, but.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But that's where my fines went up.
No, it is a necessity. I mean, they're basically pricing us out of being able to use the same software effective June of next year.
Yeah.
A lot of other courts, Kim Klinkenbeer, who's the court clerk, and Jason Maxwell, the judge, they spoke to a lot of other courts that use the same software, had 0 complaints out of any of those places. You can see the numbers there. It's a lot cheaper than the other two. They said it works really well with integrating and the ability to transfer over, and it's really user friendly. Unfortunately, this is just something that happens, and it's going to continue to happen. I think this, I can't remember the exact date, but they did something similar when they purchased the New Dawn software. Tim may know how long ago that was, but
New Dawn was 2011, I believe.
Yep.
Okay.
I would expect stuff like this about every decade, because they'll put software out of service.
And when they did New Dawn before, it was paid out of the diversion fund, which I have no problem saying, yeah, that money can be used for that. I think it's a good use of that money. I mean, we have to have the court software to work back and forth as well. So.
And like
It
Cal
is.
said, we raised the fees to equal out. That should.
Yeah, they made both fees $80 in court costs, and then they included a tech fee on that because they know this is a recurring amount. Their annual service fee, I think, is slightly increased.
Yeah.
From what
It's a bit higher than it was.
Right. And so they need that extra amount for that and other tech thing. It's gonna be just a normal course of business, and they built that in so we can have something to help offset that cost in the future.
Any other questions? Can I have a motion to purchase Tyler Court Software, hardware, and services in the amount of $89,982 to be paid from the diversion fund account?
Make a motion that we approve the municipal court purchase of Tyler Court Software, hardware, and services in the amount of $89,982 to come out of the diversion funds. Commissioner Lindenbrook.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Lindenbroker to purchase for the municipal court the Tyler Court Software, hardware, and services in the amount of $89,982 to come from the diversion fund account. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. And thank you, I assume Kim Klinkenbeer got all the quotes. Thank you for getting us 3 different playground storm sewer.
Okay, for all practical purposes, this was an easy way to name it. Actually, on Candy Creek where it hit 15th, and it would flood from that point on. So actually, this is more of a Can Creek drainage issue. We went ahead and picked that area for the playground because that left us less area that we have to worry about draining. So we can shed the water, we'll run, it'll be an underground drainage that goes back to that big pond south of the Cal Ripken fields, which is also will be made deeper and bigger as we get to it. But part of the problem is all the water in town basically runs through Can Creek. Well, then it hits 15th, can't handle it, and then it starts backing up, and even as it floods the ball fields, then that gets to a certain point and it keeps flooding back up through the town. So that's why a lot of work has been done on that end there at 15th to get Can Creek so we can hold more volume, flow better, and take and divert it to the west into the big pond, which has never held water before because it had a berm around it. So, I mean, so the name is, yeah, it's Playground Storm Sewer, that's where it's going, is in that area, but the actual thing is to eliminate, hopefully, is because part of, you know, with the playground, with the parking lot around the ball field, that was all drainage to take that water that came shed and send it back to the pond. So we're doing everything we can to reduce any backups that we have in Liberal, and that makes it easier for the water to flow from, you know, the south end to the north end.
So we just need to approve this amount of $49,985
Yes,
with
sir.
King Enterprises. I'll make a motion that we approve this expenditure project, $49,985 with King Enterprises.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner King Enterprises in the amount of $49,985. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. We've taken out number 14. We'll move on to the city staff. Anybody have anything?
Steve, Bill, Chance, if you want to say something, you don't have to.
City Council, appreciate the opportunity to come in the house. So, I want to introduce myself. My name is Bill Mitchell. I've been here in Little for about 3.5 years, going on 4 at this point. I have been, the last unit, I was recently promoted to the rank of chief, and I want to kind of give you kind of an idea of what my plans were. So, I noticed fairly quickly here, I've been a cop since 1986, so I've been around a little while. So I've noticed in the last few years that that law enforcement, the police work specifically, has been almost to the point of withdrawing themselves from the public. They've been more back here, staying away from the community. I started studying community policing. And community policing is not just being involved with the public, but actually forming contacts and forming a bond between the police department and the community. So that's my goal, and I'm going to do that specifically through community projects. We just volunteered for Meals on Wheels to deliver meals, such as neighborhood walks. We're going to go out through the neighborhood, we're going to knock on doors, we're going to introduce ourselves, and we're going to form bonds one way or the other. We want people to know who we are and that we are here to help you. We're so done with the 1950s you versus them and that type of attitude that we're going to try to mesh this thing. So other things we're going to try to do is form. I want these people finding out what these people need, what citizens need in their neighborhoods. I want to be able to be I want that information so I know which way to gear. So these are the different types of things that I plan on trying to implement to get this department where we want to get with community policing. So, thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And Bill, I do want to compliment you. One of the biggest things No, we don't, but that's the perception we want out there, that the neighborhoods are, you know, you guys are serving and protecting our town. And I appreciate the turnaround on that.
Yep. All of the feedback that I've received so far has been very positive, so
City manager?
Okay. I need, since they have been backed up during the month of June, they're gonna start holding court from 8 to 5 days a week, is that correct?
It's gonna be a lot. I don't know if it's 8 to 5, but.
Well, but anyway, they got to play catch up. So what I'm proposing is that our 2 meetings in June, we just go ahead and hold here. You know, whether we go to 15, keep social distancing, but I mean, I don't know that we're at the point where everybody would be comfortable going into the commission chambers right after they've held court all day and it hasn't been time to be cleaned and disinfected. City Hall is disinfected daily and fogged on weekends. We feel real comfortable about our environment here. And I still believe it. Even my heart doctor told me I wouldn't die. So I wasn't that lucky.
This has been nice.
Yeah.
yeah, this works perfectly fine.
And there's plenty of space.
Hmm?
We can get 30 people in here.
Yeah, I mean, because that 30 is going to include
All of
what
us.
we have here. So actually, we're only talking about another 15 chairs that we can put out there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How many people we have in here tonight? You know,
16 count the 2 guys in the next room.
so you know, we're
Won't
not.
be that many more.
Yeah. I'm hoping not.
Sure. Just have to wait and see, I guess.
So if we're good. Ordered that all utility payments, there were no disconnects. That if you're under KCC direction, you need to offer 12-month payment plans and waive late. It does not apply to municipal utilities that are not under the jurisdiction of KCC. We are governed by some KCC laws, we really are, but we're more of an umbrella under KCC, but it is. I can't see that, and we set up payment plans, I can't see that as being a real revenue loss. Do you, Chris?
Well, the only issue that I see with that is sometimes having a late fee is kind of an incentive to pay their bill, which in turn generates cash flow for us in which to operate, you know, to meet our payroll and have to buy supplies and all of that. You know, and I don't know.
Well, I mean, we're
Okay,
still
so-
gonna do disconnects on time after June 31st.
Okay.
I mean, but, so they still have to do the $3 or $4 late fee?
Yeah, it's
I don't,
yeah, it's a percentage of the water portion of their water bill that applies to late fees, so.
and our payment arrangements now are 12 months, correct?
Yeah, we currently, in a non-pandemic situation, we would allow 2 payment plans within a 12-month period. You know, so, I mean, as we're getting to the warmer months, we're gonna really start seeing an increase in water usage, which means that bills are gonna go higher, our pumping costs are gonna increase, so on, so, I mean, that's
kind of my, with what we already have in place. The only exception would be waiving the late fee. I mean, which,
you know, as a potential, like a kind of a meet in the middle thing, we could temporarily increase the quantity limit of payment plans. You know, if we went from 2 during a 12-month, we could maybe increase.
Applies for like 4 to 6 extensions, you know, on
No, I mean, this is the truth. They'll come in and apply for a payment. You can't make that.
yeah. Class, especially in communities like this, but there's got to be that they're still incapable of being able to pay that because people will take advantage of guidelines inside of it.
Well, right now, the first we can shut you off. Your cycle with the notices and
Suggestion, just like the KCC disconnecting up through visit it, you know, and kind of determine, see how things. First is really going out there and helping with those, but like I said, it might be later, and that might be a way to kind of compromise it.
To give people a chance to get caught back up if they just got gainfully employed in such a negative way that it wouldn't be possible to do without allowing
come to your electric companies. Have water for that. But again, that's July 1st or the end of June. I don't honestly know, but I think
during this, it was, and so on. Specifically, their order was, you know, people who didn't pay their bills wouldn't be customers. We do have some customers that have neighbors calling each other when we're coming. So, I mean, you're still going to have that no matter whether you have a pandemic or not. Would be that we probably have those who once the disconnect time do evictions or anything like that, or landlords or mortgage companies could, you know, someday those are going to come due. So, you know, that is an issue.
We need to create a problem by extending.
I don't.
All the other ones are gonna stay too.
I don't know that it would.
Might make it harder for them to catch up. They might spend their money somewhere else when they should be paying their
Let it
bill.
go.
Right.
That's a good point.
What you're saying there.
Right.
yeah, like I said, I know the other utilities are going to hold that June 1 as a drop dead date, especially where, ding, they're off. For us, we have to go out and turn the valve off.
At how many delinquent notices we have, and then we can kind of see if there's a necessity to modify anything before we the deadline no matter
Yeah,
what.
May
Next week,
31st is
yeah.
when we start, you know. So,
Is that Monday?
well, actually, we do have 2 cycles a month, and I won't lie to any of you, I don't remember what dates the cycles fall on. I don't know if Chris remembers.
Yeah, the first one is somewhere around the first week of the month, and I know typically on those is if someone didn't pay their bill, then we would actually send out notices of essentially a 10 days after, and I believe that's in our code, that, you know, a balance after 10 days is subject to termination and so on of the
haven't been going to shut it off. We've been doing everything we can to encourage them to pay their bill. And so,
They could come and make arrangements for payments in that 10-day period.
yes.
So they're not-
And even
I think
after
we
that
need to
10-day
stick
period
with
to
the
get it back
June.
on.
I think,
Yeah.
I think we need to stick with the June
Yeah.
1st.
Yep.
They need to take responsibility.
Yeah.
June
And
1st?
yeah, June 1st is fine.
We stay with. Yeah, actually, we did open up this morning. Your water bill, you can buy bags. The other thing is department, you know, department heads, employees can get over here to see us, or they can get downstairs. The general public, and of course, one of the cases we've had some people who are in contact, so I don't know the numbers. We have had no positives in City Hall. We have had some in a couple other departments. They have done a good job, for the most part, of trying to protect themselves. And I really want to thank them for doing such a great job. And this isn't over, but hopefully there's a light at the tunnel. That's all I got.
No, Mayor, thank you.
Well, I just want to thank you for releasing those funds for that diversion account, purchases. Done, thank you.
You're welcome. It was Chris's idea, but I don't think I really could have said no, so.
Every single person that works for the city, I know you've been out doing your jobs and taking care of business, and most of you are staying safe, and let's keep doing that. I really appreciate everything everybody's done throughout this.
Really appreciate all the hard work that the employees have put in and all the diligence of continuing to come to work throughout all of this and make sure that they're being safe while they're out in public. I want to throw a special shout out to Deputy Chief Skeety and Chief Kelly. I've gotten a lot of compliments about the fire department and the way you guys have been conducting yourselves throughout this from the public, and that's fantastic. Same thing, Chief Cutchaw. Everything has been positive feedback from everybody I've talked to about the PD, and getting on board with the new system. And to the public, you know, it looks like we're finally starting to see a lot of very rapid changes. So I applaud all of my fellow commissioners. I feel like we had a very calm response to this, and that is not something that was very common throughout all of this, throughout different levels of government. So out of it and getting the Liberals' economy back on track. That's all.
I wasn't going to say, and all the rest of the staff that's come to work through all this. Fortunately, I was able to work all the way through it too. So my life seemed had a fairly normal life, because I know there's a lot that didn't. But I also want to, you know, thank this. We have a limited staff. I've done a little weed eating or trimming around some stones and realized how long. And so I'd like to get a shout out to those two guys, because, and I know Brad's been out there working too, but all the city staff.
My turn?
Your turn.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to thank the kind of wet weather.
Wouldn't have been Memorial Day without it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Mr. Jim Garcia in the rain doing his presentation. And kind of want to thank another staff member, Kent McCarter, the other night. Traffic light at intersection of Kansas and Pancake. The turn signal wasn't working at all, staying red, and people were just backing up and they were getting frustrated. Well, I called dispatch, and heck, he was right out there. I kind of made a mistake though. I told him 54 and 83, which I'm thinking a long time ago. And Kent went out there and calls me up and said, I can't find anything, Tony. I says, oh man, I meant Pancake. Kansas. He got right there and fixed it, so. People were getting restless out there, so. But that's all I got. Thank everybody else for their hard work.
I'd like to actually thank staff and tell them that things are changing around here, and for the citizens of Liberal, if you can do it safely, get out, visit some of these businesses that are opening up.